Hello, everyone. How are you today? My name is Jennifer Prado, and I will be your room moderator today for our Go Virtual Career Pathways Conference. Have volunteered to kind of moderate this conference. I am new to the career readiness team. My first day is not till Monday, but I kind of jumped on a little early, and I will be taking over the K-12 Strong Workforce some work for the county, and I am a project specialist. So that is my role at the county office. I kind of just wanted to go over some logistics and housekeeping rules for our session today, and then I will hand it on over to our presenters. If we can kind of keep everybody on mute, and if you have a question, I'm going to direct you to the question and hopefully answer box off to the side, and you can find that under the chat. Rob, I believe, will be presenting, and so you'll be seeing his screen, not mine. I just want to kind of put that out there. And at the end of our session today, you will be receiving an attendance certificate for your time in attending this virtual breakout session. And so Mr. Otterberry, Rob Otterberry, will be putting that up at the end of his presentation, and you can take a screenshot for that. I just wanted to also give you a reminder that you'll be receiving a daily evaluation. So your feedback is really important to us. If you could please fill that out about your experience today in our session, I greatly appreciate that. So just a reminder, everybody mute, and then if any questions, I'll direct you guys to the question and answer box. So just so we're all in the right spot today and for our breakout session, this is our 2 to 2:45 session. We will be ending about 5 minutes early, just to kind of give everybody some transition time to the next session. And this session is providing virtual career exploration and design challenges for students. And our presenters are Mr. Rob Otterberry from Connect Ed and Greg Curran, I believe I'm saying that right, and Dean Darley, and they're from our San Diego Unified School District. So welcome, presenters. Thank you for your time and your efforts to making this Go Virtual Conference such a success. And I will hand it over to you now. Thank you.
Jennifer, before you go,
yes.
Can you pull up the certificate, because I did not?
I sure can. I will, let me work on that while you're presenting, and I'll take the screen over at the end, and I'll put it up if that's okay.
Perfect, thank you.
Sounds good, thank you.
Okay, well, welcome everyone. My name is Dean Darley. I'm the program manager for the Office of College, Career, and Technical Education for San Diego Unified, and I'm joined by my colleagues, Greg Curran, who's a program specialist from our department, as well as Rob Atterbury, who's the Director of District and Regional Support for Connect Ed, the National Center for College and Career. So we had the opportunity last spring to pilot a series of 5 events, both in May and June. And what we did was we got our industry partners to come alongside to help provide career exploration, help us to understand the skills that were required in those jobs, to share some of their own pathways, career pathways, and then we provided a design challenge to actually deepen the learning. And you can see on the screen there, these are the 5 different events that we hosted and provided. And through these 5 series, we had a chance to serve over 430 students and teachers. So it's our goal today to share some of these experiences with you. You'll see some video clips. And our goal is to provide some tips and some strategies that perhaps that you can do and implement and give your students these same type of opportunities. So when we ask, why did we pilot these 5 different programs? We discovered, maybe you did too as well, that last March, not all of our students were engaged in our learning. And we know that career technical education is very hands-on and it's very tough to do virtually. So we had to take a look and we said, well, what are some of our biggest assets? And one of our biggest assets is our industry partners, right? And coming alongside. So what we did is we asked them to help us create some events. That way we can get some student engagement involved. So we're going to see some of these events today, and hopefully it'll give you some ideas. So at that point, let's kick it over to Greg.
Well, thank you, everyone. Well, it's time for us to get into the nuts and bolts of today's topic. And our purpose for today is to demonstrate how to ignite student awareness with a live virtual career exploration activity. We will provide you examples of a design challenge opportunity we use to enhance and deepen online learning for students. We will model a classroom lab setting for online learning that will benefit current and future learning activities. Finally, we will show you how to utilize basic tools to strengthen the online lesson. So with that being said, I would like to welcome and invite Rob Atterbury, the Director of the District of Regional Support of Connect Ed, to join us today. Rob will walk us through the steps and processes we use to set up 5 virtual activities we piloted last spring, and we will share how successfully we engaged hundreds of students across San Diego Unified School District and many other districts across the country. So thank you. And Rob?
Great. Well, thanks, Greg. I really appreciate it. It was our great pleasure to work with San Diego Unified last spring, as well as a number of districts we work with across the country. I know some of my great friends are on with us today from Porterville and up in Antioch and all over the country. So appreciate you all joining in. Today, we'd like to outline what we did, and we're going to, as we showed before, we had actually ran several of these. We're going to actually walk you through small clippets from each one of these. We're going to provide through the chat here, let me go ahead and send that, an outline of how to run one of these if you'd like to take that, because it's one of our great interests to expand this so that all students get an opportunity to get involved, not only in learning about the career field, but engaging in discussions about the kinds of skills necessary to be successful, the 21st century skills, or as some call them, the essential skills or graduate profile skills, and then give students an opportunity to actually grow and learn how those skills work. So each of these 7 elements, we realize it's going to feel a little choppy because we're going to be jumping around, but we're going to show you just little snippets from each and then give you a chance to just sort of reflect on it, rather than actually walking you through sort of one in its totality. We did these over a series of the last weeks of school, and that was probably the worst time the teachers were really struggling to get students engaged. And so we felt like this was a great opportunity to use a great asset we have, which is our industry partners, to come along. And so I hope today you'll get a chance to see those. And as I queue up the first segment, I'm going to kick it over to Dean just to talk about some of our student learning outcomes we expected.
So when we put these series together, we wanted to say, what do we want the students to know and be able to do? But it really boils down to really 3 key points that I think we want to kind of highlight and talk about. And that is really creating awareness of opportunities. I know in our district in San Diego Unified, a lot of our students, it's an opportunity gap. They just don't know, they just don't have exposure to the opportunities afforded to them. So one is creating those opportunities. The second thing is that, what are the skill sets that are both unique and universal needed for student success? So taking a look at those skills, and then third, taking a look at so how are we reinforcing those skills in what we teach? So there again, 3 things: creating opportunities, looking at skill sets, and then how are we teaching to those skill sets? All right, Rob, ready to take it off?
Yeah, thanks so much, Dean. And our first clip was basically, and for each one of these, we found a short clip from the industry just to expose students as an introductory piece. We wanted to be able to connect them with the context before just bringing on somebody sort of static and just having a conversation with somebody. So this first clip is really just to show you a sample. I'm not going to roll the whole clip that we used with the students, but this will give you a kind of a flavor for that.
Do you agree with that phrase, a picture says 1,000 words?
For me, photography has always been a way to communicate. I was a very shy and introverted young teenager. Found my voice. I do think that photography is the language of our time.
But things in my career haven't always been that easy. When I was 35, I had an accident and broke my neck while surfing. When I was at the hospital, a nurse took special interest in me, and it was her advice that saved my life. Had I gone ahead with the surgery, I would have been paralyzed. I always look back at that as being taken care of by an angel.
When it comes to surf photography, many say Aaron Chang walks on water.
But Chang is also among the most successful fine art photographers in the world. His photos have graced more than 100 magazine covers, and he's traveled far for that perfect shot.
With good physical therapy, I completely recovered. I decided never to take anything for granted. From that point, it became my mission to inspire people to see the beauty around them. And that is why I'm devoting my life to fine art photography.
The San Diego Tourism Board named you the Ambassador of Art.
Yes, it was a real honor to be appointed that by the Tourism Board. I'm glad that they have confidence in me.
One of Surfing Magazine's most successful covers was shot right here at Dog Beach. I'd like to show you where and how I shot one of my most iconic photos. Fisheye lens gives you a very wide angle perspective. I really try hard to make a sunset picture something special.
Every moment counts. And so to really live life is probably one of the most important lessons that I've learned doing photography.
All right, get our slides synced back up here. So just a quick reflection, and you can use your reaction button, or if you want to chat us, did this video engage you to the point of wanting to learn more? All right, well, we found that students seem to be pretty inspired by it. Let's jump down to the next clip, Greg.
Okay, thank you, Rob. Well, next we're going to show you where we highlighted the background of an individual we were interviewing. So, and the kinds of technical skills that were needed for the job. So in the clip, the students actually get to hear a personal testament from a gentleman named Marcus McCannon. And Marcus McCannon is the president of Ricardo North America. It's an automotive engineering design company here in Carlsbad. And they got to learn about the importance, they'll hear from him about the importance of work ethics, critical thinking, and 21st century skills. Our goal here was to help promote that critical thinking aspect for inquiry and problem solving, as well as reflection. So Rob, would you like to show us this clip here? Thank you.
Good to see you too, and really appreciate you giving us some time in your warp speed schedule. Talk a little bit about Ricardo North America, the organization, the parent company. How long has it been in business, and how you wound up getting there, and then the steps it took you to get there?
Yeah, not a problem. So, like the video said, Ricardo's been around for 105 years. The company was originally started with a challenge from the United Kingdom, from the government in London. To design tank engines that didn't emit smoke, so that they wouldn't be seen on the battlefield during World War I. Since then, Ricardo has been doing powertrain, chassis, vehicle design, innovation and integration continuously for 100 years. So we're headquartered in the UK. The offices in North America were stood up in the late 80s, and we have a footprint that basically covers all the automotive and transportation related businesses across the North American market. So we deal with passenger cars, motorcycles, boats, tractors, big trucks on the highway. I mean, we basically cover anything that's moving on the ground. And even in the past couple of years, we've been venturing into things that move in the air. So in terms of my role, I joined Ricardo in October of last year. I had known Ricardo for a long time. I actually joined the automotive industry approaching 22 and a half years ago. And I started off at Chrysler. I was an engineer and designer at Chrysler. Yeah, so I'll start with ethics as a basic principle, then we'll go to work ethic. So first of all, ethics becomes the basis for how everyone knows you. To me, work ethic determines your ability to have opportunity versus not, okay? So I've always said that I didn't necessarily do anything special to get to the opportunities that I had. The only thing I did is when I saw an objective that I thought was both good for myself and the business that I was in, I pursued it relentlessly. Fundamental thing that you can have as a professional is not just the brains and the insights to create an idea, but the ability to convey your idea to someone else so that they can understand it and connect with it, right? So there's a lot of very, very brilliant people in the world who struggle to see the success or to see the potential that they have because they can't help other people to understand their vision. Learning how to communicate your ideas, learning when to expound on them, learning when to be succinct, learning how to use simple language so that people can understand you. I don't think there's anything more critical, regardless of what aspect of business or industry that you choose to go into.
So great. So you got to hear a little bit about the 21st century skills from Marcus McCannon. So if you guys could, for a moment, using the chat function, could you tell us what skills were evident? What did he mention? And how can this be used in an instructional way? So using that, if you could, if you see that in the chat. So work ethics, absolutely. Clear and concise communication. So you heard him talk about just speaking in simple terms. Yep. Critical thinking, absolutely. So a lot of communication. So again, we often hear that. Our employers will say, we just want to get the kids to the job and we'll teach them the soft skills, and that's what's important. So thank you. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and pass it back over to Rob.
Thanks, Greg. So beyond technical skills, students were invited to hear and learn from a film producer and the education pathway where it took her in her dream career, and also just featuring the technical aspects of filmmaking. Filmmaking, different from photography, had some different kinds of skills, and I certainly learned a lot hearing from her. So we're going to go ahead and roll that short clip.
Sure. Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming. So I am a documentary filmmaker and also a journalist. I like to cover environmental stories, but I also work on projects of all different topics. The first film I shot with a DSLR camera, a Canon 5D Mark III. And then the cameras I used to shoot Guardian, I used a DSLR, a GoPro, and then a video camera that's very similar to a DSLR. So balancing light, exposing your picture is pretty much the same. There are a few differences. You're adjusting the aperture, you're using your ISO a lot, and then you're using filters. They're called ND filters to kind of reduce the amount of light that's coming in. But one thing that you lose when you're shooting video is you cannot use your shutter speed to manage how much light is coming in. Your shutter speed is set to whatever your frame rate is. And most films are shot at like 24 frames per second, sometimes 30 frames per second for web, things like that. So I'm gonna show you a clip where I used at least 2 different cameras, maybe even 3, and then we can talk about how I got these different shots. Okay.
They call us creek walkers.
they spawn among the rocks, and the eggs just go into the crevices, eh? And that's where they lay and incubate.
Okay, so the underwater shots I got with just a little GoPro, and I didn't have a screen on the back because that eats up the battery, and I'd be out there maybe for 8 hours. So that's something else I can talk about is how do you shoot in the wilderness when you have limited card space, limited opportunities to charge batteries. You really have to always bring lots of backup. Like not 2 of something, you need like 3 or 4. You need like 3 backups.
All right. So what were some of the things you learned about cinematography that maybe you didn't know before? Go ahead and chat us some answers. Obviously, this was more technical, and I know not everybody on the screen is photography buff, but anything you might have learned? Go ahead and chat your answers. Great. Be prepared for a long time. Get shots, light and filter speeds. Excellent. Use more than one camera. Yep. Shutter speeds and filters. Yep. Multiple devices. Light. Bring lots of batteries. She traveled many hours to get out to this place. There's no way she's going back to the store to buy a battery. All right. Awesome. Well, let me kick it back over to Greg. And
well, thank you, Rob. Yeah, that one definitely very exciting. That was a good segment for our students. And one of the things I want to mention is, again, that wasn't only for photo teachers. That went out to a lot, multimedia, photo, other areas as well. So anyway, in this next segment, we were able to highlight a virtual experience opportunity with the National Sign Association. So we were very fortunate to connect with the president of the National Sign Association and the owner of Sign Biz, which is Teresa Young. So Sign Biz is a company that produces commercial signs, and they also support a lot of companies with their logos and brands. So the sign industry, we found out, was very diverse, right? It involves many different types of trades and industries. So in this particular opportunity, again, we were able to expand the virtual experience to multiple CTE programs, which included graphic design, screen printing, photography, engineering, construction, and even our green technology programs. So, and also one thing I want to throw in there is keep in mind, this is a great opportunity for you guys to collaborate with other teachers in the same type of discipline or across the line. So again, you can, if you set one of these events up, you can work with other CTE teachers or academic teachers across your district. So we always look at ways of keeping them engaged. And in this example, you're going to see the partner, the industry partner, has prepared an interactive game, which was kind of introduced kind of midway through the 1 hour presentation, right? Because we just don't want to talk to them all the time. So we break it up. So this warm-up activity, Rob's going to show you an example. So when you're ready, Rob.
Another activity for our students there with looking at different signs. So I'm going to toss it.
I am going to, what we have here is going to be just, I think, so easy for you guys. You're just going to name that brand, and it's going to be a partial logo. I think it's going to be easy. This is your warm-up exercise. So consider this, you know, just tuning up the brain for visuals, all right? So just chat your answer out. As soon as somebody gets it right, which will probably be instantaneous, we will see the result and confirm it, and then we'll move on to the next logo. So
that one looks familiar to me.
Yeah. Let's see. We got an answer from Cameron. It's correct. Okay, it is Ford. All right.
Did we pause there? Are you still with us, Rob?
Yep, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Sorry, it just paused it there. Okay, so I'm going to move on then to the next one here. So another way we thought we can engage the students is to have an industry partner. Again, this is Aaron Chang. You saw him earlier. He provided us with a virtual tour of the workplace. So, and this helps the students connect and feel more personalized to the virtual experience. So in this example, we asked Aaron Chang, the surf photographer, to walk around his studio and feature his photographs, and he was just using his cell phone to do it, okay? But we did a dry run with him ahead of time, and we noticed when he was walking around, he was moving around too quick, and the video was a little blotchy and it was delayed. So just keep in mind, if you are doing these things, that sometimes you got to do a dry run, sometimes you got to go a little bit slower so that the students can see the video feed. So we're going to go ahead and roll that video so you can see just how it was that actual rolled out, that virtual tour with the cell phone. So Rob, if you could.
Gallery in Solana Beach on Cedrus. It's where I showcase my work. I hope that it comes out because the lighting is a little bit hot with the phone. I can't dial it down.
Are you guys?
I think that's pretty good. This is one of my best-selling pieces. It's called Water Matrix. It was shot in Carlsbad, and it was something that I've been chasing for years and years. Whitewater exploding. And this one just captures the beauty and bizarreness of water tension and lighting. It's backlit, so there's so much depth in it. One thing I
Hey,
really
Rob, are you there?
Hey, Rob, I don't think you can see the screen.
Screen's not casting, right?
Here.
Yeah.
But it's one of my favorite.
Okay, I didn't change anything, so let me.
You want to refresh?
Yeah, let me try refreshing.
Reshare. So.
Thank you for being patient, everyone.
Images.
There
and
we go.
again, I want to invite you guys to come into the gallery because it looks much more impressive in person than it does here.
Still frozen on my side.
One of the things that I've started experimenting with was to let images blur.
Okay, not working.
Do you want one of us to try to cast it, or?
You're welcome to try.
Okay, let me share screen. One moment. So I can get that to go.
Thank you everyone for your patience for this little technical hiccup. It's okay, we'll get it up and going. But thank you for everyone for using the chat box. If you have any questions, please post on there. And I do have the certificate ready for you at the end of the presentation. So I did want to let you guys know that we were able to get that for you. So.
Okay. Are you guys able to see that right now? I'm going to play it.
Yeah, we can see that, Greg.
Okay.
Yes.
Audio too?
It's where I showcase my work. I hope that it comes out because the lighting is a little bit hot with the phone. I can't dial it down, but I think that's pretty good. This is one of my best-selling pieces. It's called Water Matrix. And it was shot in Carlsbad, and it was something that I've been chasing for years and years. Whitewater exploding. And this one just captures the beauty and bizarreness of water tension and lighting. It's backlit, so there's so much depth in it. One thing I really love is there's sunlight coming through a hole in the middle and lighting up some of the drops right here.
Yes,
but it's
beautiful.
one of my favorite images. And again, I want to invite you guys to come into the gallery because it looks much more impressive in person than it does here. One of the things that I've started experimenting with was to let images blur. And when I did that in camera, this is an image that I created that's called Black Pearls. It's a set of waves rolling in against a atomic sunset. This was shot in Carlsbad, Catalina Islands on the surface. This is an image that I really love as well.
Okay. Rob, do you want to try and take back over, or?
No, why don't you keep going?
Okay. So, all right. So just how did that feel to you guys in the chat? How did that walking through the gallery, do you see that as being beneficial? If you can post that for a second, and I'll cue up the next slide here.
You'll need to reshare your screen, Greg.
Yeah, I got to get, give me 1 sec. It's going to take me a second to get this all queued up.
So one of the challenges with this, and even that, and I'm sure apologize for the technical glitches here. I'm getting a little internet instability, and probably even more herky jerky across the line back to you all. But let me just say that going very slowly, or maybe even using a GoPro, taking a tip from our photographer friend, just using a GoPro where you get a little bit more stability, a little wider angle, and then going very, very slowly. It looks much faster than it actually is. You know, he was walking extremely slow, and you could still see it was pretty bouncy. So,
well, Rob, I'll go ahead and let you kick it off here at the design challenge.
Sure. Do you want to go to full present mode, or are you going to leave it?
I'm going to go in this one because mine's a little bit difficult to use. Is that okay?
That's
all right.
Fine. Yeah, that's fine. So, well, hearing interviews, asking questions, participating in polls, doing a tour, are all, you know, good. And so far, you know, we were able to expose students to a lot of things. And, but there were actually a few organizations that are willing to do that, but can we take it a step further and go deeper with students? And so we came up with the idea of talking with the industry partner ahead of time and saying, what are some of the things you're facing right now? You know, what are things that, how has COVID changed your business? The sign industry, you know, said, man, they're booming, and they completely turned the corner and changed directions midstream and started producing signs for social distancing and Lexan sneeze guards for banks and grocery stores. And it was fascinating. And so in talking with Marcus McCannum, we came up with a design challenge. And as we roll the video, let me just say that Marcus got pretty enthusiastic about this. And he said, I'll actually, if the students will actually participate in this, I will judge those and give feedback to those students and actually provide a prize. So he provided a $250 Amazon gift card to the top winner and a Ricardo race jacket to the runner-up and to the first placer as well. So let's roll the clip. And sorry, we're not in present mode, but hopefully the video will come through on this a little bit better.
Talk to these executives constantly, and all of us are facing the same challenge. What does the future of transportation look like? Well, then, you know, come March of this year, we got hit with something we had never seen before. We knew that there was a risk of pandemics coming into the developed countries and developed market, but we experienced it for the first time. And we think that it fundamentally changes the way that we do business and may change the way that we look at transportation. So one of the things that's important for us is to understand what will the future buyer want when we start thinking about transportation in the future, especially in a world post-COVID. And what better scenario than to actually hear the thoughts straight from who we think is going to be the owners of the future. So that was the gist of the challenge, and I'm really excited about the content that's come back from the students.
So we use Flipgrid, and we asked students to participate in this and to use Flipgrid and produce a 1-minute video, and then turn that video in. And then Marcus had a chance to look over the videos. He selected the top 2, and you're going to just see our runner-up. And by the way, we had permission from the parents. We actually invited the parents on. When we first did all of these, we had cameras off and students using just their first names for security purposes. We also had all students register into these so that we had some security on it. We had all images off, all cameras off. We ran them as webinars, if you're familiar with that term, versus just a Zoom meeting. If you were in a classroom though, and you're there monitoring it, that certainly wouldn't be a problem, but we wanted to be sure that we had met the requirements for privacy. So you're going to see the results now in this next clip.
Ricardo North America Design Challenge by Zoe Quirin. COVID-19 pandemic caught the world off guard. Now we have to...
Oh, sorry. Do that again.
Ricardo North America Design Challenge by Zoe Quirin. COVID-19 pandemic caught the world off guard. Now we have to modify our lives to safer and healthier ways to reduce the possibility of infection. Seeing mass transportation during COVID-19, air travel, trolleys and subways, trains, school buses, and cruise ships are the root cause for spreading COVID-19. Ricardo North America Engineering, this is where we need to shift our focus. Preventing the spread, my proposed system includes touchless tickets, scannable touchless ticket readers, required gloves and masks, and glove and mask vending machines. The system also includes UV light, HEPA air filtration, temperature readers, and COVID-19 AI interface. In addition, everyone would need to continue to wear masks and gloves, plus disinfect frequently used surfaces. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Stay happy, healthy, and safe. Thank you.
Absolutely, yeah. We were really impressed to see the ideas that you put forward. So Zoe, so tell me, you mentioned AI, right? And you saw that AI was going to be a part of the solution in the future. So help me to understand, what do you know about AI, and why do you think that that's going to be so important?
I think that AI interface would be very helpful for this because, I don't know, people can, it really stops preventing the spread, I guess, compared to other people, kind of. If you know, you're next to people, you have more risk of getting COVID-19 and then if you're working with AI, you're safe basically.
Excellent. So you mentioned a lot about touchless interaction and touchless transactions. So, you know, Uber is a very big thing amongst young travelers. So how do you think that that plays into Uber or Lyft in the future, or do you think that it plays in at all?
Yeah, I think a lot of people have been using Uber and Lyft and all these things as expenses and everything, and people just, I think they like it more, I guess, and it's just more convenient for some people.
Absolutely. I think your insights were spot on. So I'll tell you, one of the things that was really exciting for us is a lot of the same initiatives that we're already working on. So touchless technology, integrating artificial intelligence in the way that the car functions and in the way that we monitor the function of cars is something that we're working on every day. So it was exciting for us because we kind of got a confirmation, but also impressive to see those thoughts coming from such a young mind. So that was.
So how do you think your students might respond to a design challenge like this? Chat your thoughts. We'll just give a minute or two. Please give us your chat thoughts there. Great, empowered, creative outlet, interesting, great ways to develop new ideas. Excellent. Excellent. Inspire some creativity. Excellent. Great. Well, that was our hope, was to be able to get students to go a little bit deeper, use some of their problem solving, creativity, innovation skills, critical thinking, problem solving skills, and then being able to be interviewed at the end is also a great challenge around communication skills. Greg, let's see, I'm going to throw this back now to Dean.
Yeah, I'll take it over here. Thanks, Rob and Greg, for stepping us through some of those elements. Some good stuff there, and it's nice to be able to showcase that. One of ConnectEd's and Rob's goals is to expand and give more students these opportunities, and those should be our goals too as well. Rob, is it possible, we had some people that came in late, would it be possible to throw that document that you have back in the chat? This is just an overview of the logistics. If you want to do something like this yourselves, this would be a helpful tool, a good guide for you. So just as we kind of do some reflection here and wrap things up, just wanted to see from your perspective, what industry partners do you have in, let's say, your toolbox that you could tap in and that you could do something like this to engage your students in whatever subject areas you're teaching? So if you could just put it in the, maybe in the chat, maybe just some of the industry partners that you think that you could perhaps tap into. You've got to have industry partners, right? There we go. Fisher Scientific, yeah, very good. Yeah, we order a lot of supplies from them. They should reciprocate, right? Hurley, very good. That's popular. Qualcomm, yes. Yeah, Suzanne, yeah. Yeah, San Diego Fire, AMR, yep. We use Mr. Swift. Yeah, you should be using all those guys. Yep, very good. Yep, ABC, yep. Okay, great. And then so let's another question here is then you saw some elements of how we what we did to enhance the student engagement. What other ideas could we perhaps do or you do in these type of events to get student engagement? What did we not cover, or what did we not integrate that we could? Is there any other ideas that people could take and use? Other than things like virtual tours, design challenges, are there other things that we could use? Okay, and then have interviews for someone join a classroom. Yeah. We just, today we just had 2 days worth of interviewing guest speakers, right? Yep. We had industry folks do interviews for students for internships today at Mira Mesa High School. So yep, you can use your industry partners in lots of ways. And then I guess the final question is, do you think there's value in creating let's say a library or a bank of these design challenges or of these events? Let's say if the county hosted a bank or a library of these recorded, obviously, events, would you tap into those? Would you use those? Is there value in that? It obviously takes some management to do that, but you would tap into that. Yeah, very good. So we can have those conversations with the county, or perhaps to maybe look at having those resources involved. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we have just a couple of more minutes, and we'd like to just open it up to any Q&A, any questions that anybody has. You can put it in the chat, or you can take yourself off mute and you can ask the question, and maybe Rob or Greg could, or myself, we could try to answer a question that you might have. Are there any questions out there?
We realize this is a pretty fast, rapid fire piece, but we really do appreciate you considering this and taking this up. And if we can be of any support to you, hopefully the document that we did chat out to you will be helpful. Our goal at Connect Ed is to help students get engaged and create relevant activities, especially for in this COVID time. So, and I do believe that there's going to be some great opportunities beyond COVID for you to use a library of these kinds of things and do class projects. It may be a while before we can get students back directly engaged and out on industry tours and working with industry partners directly, just because of the safety concerns. I think that doing these virtual interviews doesn't take much to set it up. Hopefully today we were able to give you at least a snippet of a few of those.
So I see we do have some questions in the chat. I think somebody asked how many students were offered the opportunity to do the design challenge and how much time was given to complete this. So I can answer that. We offered it again to multiple engineering and automotive programs in the design challenge you saw, because it was applicable in both fields, right? So it was automotive specific, but then we also teach similar concepts in our engineering. So as Rob mentioned earlier, though, the timing was off because it was like the last couple weeks of school. So to be honest with you, we offered it to all. We had a group of students participating in the actual virtual experience, but we only had a handful of students actually participate. So again, it was timing, but we have other opportunities that we've been doing where we're getting higher numbers. So I think if you allow enough time, I think you could do it with no problem. So. Any other questions in there?
Great. Well, let me go ahead and launch the poll, Dean, and we appreciate your feedback. And then we'll ask our room host here to, Jennifer, do you want to go ahead and share your screen put up whatever necessary certificate folks need to take a picture of.
Yeah, thank you, Rob. I sure will. Give everyone a few seconds to kind of do that exit poll. Thank you for doing that. And I'm going to take over the screen if I can.
Thank you, Jennifer, for doing that.
Of course. Okay, can everybody see that there?
Yep.
Awesome, and I'm going to go back to that, and I'm going to, oh, I don't know why I hit share, wrong one. I meant to hit present, excuse me. Make that bigger for everybody. So anybody who may need some type of proof of attendance for today's session, if you can go ahead and screenshot that for me. I will stay on for a few minutes, and if you are unable to take a screenshot, I can get you some information from you and send this over. If anybody has any problems, we can go ahead and pop that back. You can ask that into that chat box one more time. I wanted to kind of wrap up and say thank you to everyone who attended, but a special thanks to our presenters, Dean, Rob, Greg. Thank you for presenting today. And you can see all the hard work that went into our presentation. So thank you again for your time and efforts. We appreciate that very much.
Thank you for attending. Yeah.
Yes, and thank you for everyone who attended. We had a great turnout. We had over 65 people in our session today, so that it was a great turnout. So thank you, and again, thank you to the county office for putting on this event today for us. So thank you, everyone. I will be on for a few minutes. Any questions or concerns, let me know, and everyone have a wonderful day. Thank you.